Hello, present times Linux here, and just looking over, better, just looking over this document here about Made for Kids and whatever, determining, and it says regards to your location, we require you to tell us whether your video is made for kids, and so on and so forth. When deciding whether or not, I'm skipping this bit here, because like, meh. Children are primary audience based on the factors described below. Children not the primary audience, but the video is still directed children based on the factors below. Right. Subject doesn't matter. Subject matter of the video even. Is it educational content for preschoolers? Well, in my case, no. Not unless they're really intelligent children, that is. Whether children are intended or your actual audience? Again, no. I'm only going for me personally. Whether the video includes child actors or models? No. Child actors or models, now, this actually means actors. It doesn't mean your kids running into the room saying, Dad, can I have a packet of crisps while you're live streaming. It doesn't mean that whatsoever. It actually means you're using a child actor in a scene scenario. You're making a video, I don't know, maybe a comedy video that involves children, whatever. Or models, again. Someone who's doing it as a profession rather than your average kid coming into your stream. The video includes characters, celebrities or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures. This is a difficult one, and the reason why I say that's a difficult one is because there's a lot of videos that do games, gameplay, but the most games that I see playing on YouTube are for the over 13s anyway. You're not going to see an 8-year-old picking up COD 2 or whatever, or you shouldn't be anyway. Cartoon figures, animated characters. So is it talking to a child audience or is it there for adult entertainment? It depends on the subject matter again of the cartoon, does it not? I'm pretty sure there has to be some kind of common sense here. Whether the language of the video is intended for children or not. Okay, you can always tell a children's video or even a children's TV program in the language they speak. And I don't mean foul language or anything like that. I mean the actual subject matter of the language. They'll be using words where children may or may not understand, but it won't be, strictly for children. You could say that a news article, about a play group, could be made for children, but it really isn't. It's made for adults. Anyway, whether the language includes activities that appeal to children, such as play simple songs or games, or early education. Well, that's a pretty obvious one. If you're going to be teaching children something, you will be simplifying things to a child level. Again, a lot of people don't do that, me included. Include song stories or poems for children. So if you're getting videos of the wheels and the bus, then you could argue that the video was aimed at children, even if, whatever. Any other information you may have helped determine that your video sounds like empirical evidence of the video audience. Note the YouTube Analytics is not designed to determine if your content is child directed. You should set these factors outlined by the FCC above to set your audience. How old is the kid? Well, in the USA it's 13. Other countries may be different. If you have any issues, contact your lawyer. Wave My Compact is applicable to a wide audience but not specific to children. Now this interested me, which is why I brought the box down. It says, okay, so you know your content best. I do. If you're intended to reach a child audience, it's likely your video is made for kids. If you're unsure about your audience, take a look at the features of your video. Does it have actors, characters, names, songs, or attract children in particular? Now that's an interesting question. Does it attract children in particular? So when you're making your video, have you got kids in mind when you make it? If not, it's not made for children. You had no intention of children looking at your video. And you can argue that case, that's just common sense. But it says if so, your video may be directed at children. Again, I don't think so. The subject matters that most of the YouTubers I follow don't target children. They're technical Linux based or OS based or, that kind of thing. So they're definitely not directed at children, even though we're not using foul language every 5 minutes or, whatever. I mean, it's just common sense at the end of the day. The key is to balance all the copper specific factors in applying this analysis. For example, the fact that a kid is featured in the video does not necessarily mean that the video is made for kids. Now that's exactly what I was saying. It may not be a child actor, it could be just your little one coming in to give you a kiss on the cheek good night or ask you a question or whatever. That doesn't constitute made for kids because a child's been into a room. That's just common sense. You will have to look at all other attributes of the video, like the intended audience and whether the video uses language that is intended for children to understand. Again, and I'm going to pick on English Bob here, and I make no apologies for it. When he calls people chabs, or we have a discussion in Discord while he's live streaming, or he sees the text going up on the side and we're talking about different things, there's no way that is made for children. There's no algorithm in the world, and if it does, it's stupid beyond belief, that would say, oh, you've listed yours as not made for children, but it is. No, that isn't the way it works. That truly isn't the way it works. So, anyway, I'm just reading up here. You'll have to look at, the intended audience, whether the language is easy to understand and the subject matter of a medical video versus a play video. Obviously, if it's a medical video, it's not going to be children, is it? But if it's just a play video, you're playing an education video, like how to keep somebody alive, CPR, you could actually make that as a children's video, or you could make it as an adult video, depending on the language used and how it's used. For further information whether you're child directed, see FTC's guidance. You should consider cussing law if your content is designated as made for kids. In addition, creators outside the United States, this includes myself and others, will need to take into consideration additional obligations that they may applicable laws evaluating whether content is made for kids. Note, the age of a child in the United States divided to 13. It may be different in other countries, while a child in the United Kingdom is under 16, I believe. So, do I make content for under 16s? No, not really. When an under 16 look at my videos, there's a possibility of that, but my content isn't aimed at them. So, yeah, was this helpful? Kind of. So, yeah, this is what I was saying. It's up to you. But then again, this video now, I'm not aiming this video that I'm making now at kids. There's no way, a child will be watching, Dad, what's he mean by this? You can't stop a parent letting their child watch whatever he likes. You just can't. You can bring laws out against it, of course, and you can put little tags up. Are you over 13 in the United States? Have a tick box, or over 18, have a tick box. But there seems to be a mass purge now with people leaving YouTube. English Bob, and I just saw a video by Slim, and I'm thinking, stop and think. You're on a knee-jerk reaction to something that isn't going to happen to you. Now, if it was the case where you have gone made for kids, and then you're effing and blind and all that, and you keep doing it, yeah, then you would. But it even says in the video that was made by YouTube, and I can't find it right offhand, that if you are a repeat offender, then you will have your channel closed. Which is fine. If you see, you can make it not made for kids, and you make a program for kids, and they find out, they'll change it for you. the algorithm will change it. Oh, this is made for kids. And you can either leave it, or you can appeal against it, or the other way around. You can say, well, this was made for kids, and they'll say, no, this has got too much adult content in. It's not made for kids, and they'll change it again. So I don't know what all the worry and fuss is about, honestly. It's really nothing to worry about. It comes out in January, we'll see what's going on, and we'll take it from there. But as for now, I am not worried about anything. Even if I was to play, certain games, I won't worry about it, because the language that's used when you're talking seems to be the factor of whether that video gets flagged as made for kids or not, as well as the content of the video itself. It says if you use cartoons or that kind of business, they do. Have a look at one of Rez's videos. He does the worst games in the world, best games in the world. Is it aimed at children? I don't really think so, because there's a couple of bad words that get thrown in there, but he does use a couple of cartoon cases, or he'll do his own little animations for it, but it is for humorous purposes of the adult, not of the child. If that's the case, you could argue that South Park was made for children because it's an animation, when evidently it isn't, or Family Guy, or American Dad. You see where I'm going with this? Adult Swim. Would you consider any of those made for children because it's animation? Absolutely not. You would not let your child, and under 13, watch South Park. Maybe you would, but, under a general rule, you wouldn't. Anyway, that's my view on it, and I hope it's not making too much sense for some people. And stop you worrying people. It's just, honestly, just silly. Anyway, this is Present Times Linux, and that's my take on Copper. I'm basically not worried about it myself. I'll still be using YouTube, and I've also got a PeerTube account also, just in case things are as bad as people are saying, but I really don't think so. I honestly don't think so. So I'm going to be leaving mine as set for adults, not for children, because it really isn't, I mean, children can watch it, theoretically, because I don't swear that much. However, it isn't aimed at children, and that's the factor here. My kids are not aimed at children. My subject matter is not aimed at children, and that's what it is. The subject matter and the language used in the video. Is it aimed at children? No. Anyway, I'll be leaving you, and I'll see you all soon. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday or Thursday in some parts of the world, and have a fantastic time. See you all soon. Bye bye now.